What's up, everyone? Before we get into it today, I wanted to address that Lou from Sick of It All has come out saying that he has cancer. There's a GoFundMe set up, so handle business. You can go to Sick of It All NYC on Instagram, and there's a link there to donate. Anyone that listens to this podcast knows how much we love that band, especially how important they were to us and our love of hardcore in the 1990s. We're all thinking good thoughts for Lou, as well as other hardcore legends out there like Al from SSD, who's going through it too. I just want to say I'm a believer that hardcore has to always be a youth movement, and youth should be the driving force in what directions that hardcore goes. I think it's fine to be a kid who just likes music and likes going to shows and dancing and having fun or whatever, but there is more to this thing, and if you decide to stick around and have punk and hardcore become a significant part of your life or of you as a person, I think that getting into the history and understanding the building blocks of this thing will only connect you even more to the music and make you love it even more. So getting on with it. This week on the pod, I'm joined by two legends, Jerry A. from Poison Idea and Paul Bearer of Sheer Terror. I do my best to play my new Jack role at age 44 and basically just shut the fuck up and let these two dudes break bread. Jerry A., he wrote a 3-piece autobiography in which he really bears his soul and talks about his early days of serious abuse and then goes into the whole history of Poison Idea. It's a must-read for punk fans. Also, TKO Records is re-releasing the whole Poison Idea catalog, so you got to check that out. And we got to give a huge shout-out to Mark from TKO for setting this whole thing up. So thanks, Mark. What's up? Send him your money, you know. Well, first, you got to smash that 185 Mile South Patreon button. If you got anything left, send Mark your money. Get that Poison Idea catalog. Because let's be real, dude. Your record collection is straight up bunk if you have no Poison Idea records. You know what I'm saying? Okay, and then lastly, Blackout Records has re-released a bunch of Sheer Terror records, including their first LP, Just Can't Hate Enough. That thing's been out of press for almost a decade now, I think. And then before that press that they did in 2015 or 2016, it was out of press for like 20 years. So you're going to want to grab that and get what else they got up in there and really support the people that support this podcast. It's much appreciated. We love you all. Let's get on with the pod. 185milessouth.com.
Smash that Patreon button.
185 Miles South, a hardcore punk rock podcast.
Train the kids for a walk on the chic and high fashion stuff.
All right, everyone. This week on the pod, I have Jerry A. from Poison Idea and Paul Bearer from Sheer Terror. What's up, dudes?
There he is. There's Paul.
Look at that guy. Look at him.
Okay.
This is great because on episode 232, I was just shooting the shit. And I was like, you know, what if I was able to get like Jerry A. and Paul Bearer together and just have them shoot the shit? You know what I mean? And then Mark from TKO reached out. He's like, hey, I know both of them. You want me to make it happen? And we made it happen. So it's a 185 miracle. Much respect, guys. Thanks so much.
Nah, no problem.
Yeah, in a perfect world, we would actually be doing a new version of The Odd Couple. We'd be living together and have like cameras around the house and
Oh God!
two grown men share an apartment without driving each other crazy.
Yeah. Who's Oscar? Who's Felix? That's the thing. I don't know.
Oh, well, obviously you're Felix, of course.
Oh, okay. I do like opera.
Jerry, before we jump in on all this, my favorite interview in the history of like hardcore podcasting was one of the times that you were on Damien's show and you told the shark bait story. Can you tell that for my listeners?
Yeah. I was in Australia and I was on a big festival package with a bunch of bands. It was like Iggy and Sonic Youth and Mudhoney, Carter, the Unstoppable Sex Machine. That was the highlight. The Bad Seeds, Nick Cave and the Bad Seeds. And I was singing with the Hard-Ons. So the whole time we were down there, I was completely blottoed out of my head, fucked up completely. And we were on this junket, this ferry that's going out in the Sydney Bay. And I saw Mick Harvey. And I'm bad at doing this. I mean, I've tried to get Paul to do it for me before. I see Paul's playing with somebody and I'm like, hey, can I send you some records and get this guy's autograph? And Paul's like, no, leave him alone. Don't fucking bother this guy. But I do it. But I do it because I'm a fan, right? So I see these. I saw Mick Harvey, and I'm like, "Oh fuck, I'm drunk." And I'm like, because I was a big birthday party fan for when I was a kid, and I still kind of like him in a way. And I went up to him in a bar, and I was like, "Hey," and I'm just wasted. And I'm like, "Dude, I love it." I'm talking to him, like there's all this shit on and on. And the guy's he's not saying a word, and he just looks over at me and he goes, "Mate, I don't know what the fuck you're talking about." Like that. I go, he's like, I don't know. He's like, I'm not Mick Harvey. Right. And it was, he's just being, and you could see me just shrink, I just shrunk down to like a mouse. And I went over and, with a tear in my eye and all my guys, they're like, what's wrong? And I go, that guy just, he told the fat girl at the, and so, these guys were like, let's throw him over the edge. Let's wait till he goes out on the deck and throw him in the harbor, throw him in the bay. So we were kind of following him around. We were kind of following around, waiting for him to, but he knew something was up. He could sense it in the air. I tried to do that once with the guy from Red Hot Chili Peppers. His dad was up at a Germ show when the Germs got back together. The guy Blackie, whatever his name is, Blackie, what's his fucking Kiedis? Blackie Kiedis, I think. Yeah, he was like this really schmoozy, smarmy, guy, and me and these guys, let's throw him over the balcony. We'll go behind him and grab him and throw him over the balcony. And we actually grabbed him by the legs, and he's like, "What are you doing? What are you doing?" We're like, "Oh," and we couldn't do it. In theory, it sounded funny, like in your mind, everything's like a cartoon. You're going to throw this guy, and but when it comes down to reality, it didn't work. But Paul, remember me asking you that? You were playing with somebody. I'm not going to say who it was, even though he's passed away now. And you're opening for some performer, and you're like, I was like, if I sent you my sleeves to these records, would you have them sign them? And you're like, no, just leave him alone. So you're like, some people don't like to be bothered.
It's probably me because I'm too lazy to go to the post office and send them back to you.
That's what it was. So. Well, Paul, I've seen you. You do those shows you're used to doing with the Clash tribute things and stuff like that. Do you ever bring records to have people sign them? I mean,
nah, I'm not really a autograph kind of guy. Like I have maybe a couple, but as an autograph records, not that I can even really think of. I found 2 autograph Slade LPs in a used bin like 30 some odd years ago.
Wow.
But as the bring records to get signed, nah. I have probably one of my prized possessions is one of my favorite authors is William Kennedy from Albany.
Mm-hmm.
And he wrote Ironweed. He's well known, but I think won the Pulitzer for that, if I'm not mistaken. And he's still, I think he's still alive. I think so anyway. I'm not sure. But this was like over 20 years, 30 years ago, whatever the fuck it was. He still living up in Albany. And a buddy of mine up there, his whole family, they're all cops and all this and blah, blah, blah. And his sister happened to know William Kennedy or something like that. I forget how it mentioned, how it worked out. And I wrote on one of the last year terror, not the last year terror record, but the one that the Love Songs record, a song called For Rudy the Crowd, which was based on Rudy the Cootie, which was a character in Ironweed, a drunken bum who liked to run around singing and acting like a nut. And his sister actually went. No, wait. She introduced my buddy to the team. I'm sorry. And he went and met William Kennedy. He played William Kennedy the song, and and got him to autograph a book for me, a copy of Ironweed, where he's like, I forget exactly what it's like. Thanks for writing about Rudy the Cootie, who knew where the Milky Way was. Good luck to you and the other shit terrorists, blah, blah, blah. William Kennedy. So that's kind of fucking cool.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, he's still alive. He's still alive.
Yeah, so that's probably one of my prized possessions there. But other than autographs, I had this giant, actually, toot, next week we're bringing the Outcast over from Ireland. And me and my buddy, the benefactor Chip, who runs the Monarch, the Brooklyn Monarch Club in Brooklyn. That's one of a couple other venues. And we're bringing the Outcasts over for their first show ever in New York City. And I have this giant promo poster that I got on eBay some years back. I don't remember. It's fucking huge, and it's a promo poster for the Blood and Thunder LP that was on New Rose out of France. And I'm a fucking nerd, that's why I remember all this shit. And it's big, so I'm going to have the two brothers, the Cowan brothers, I'm going to have them autograph that for me. And then I'm going to frame it. I got so much shit I got to frame. I'm out of my fucking mind.
You could just donate all that stuff to the Punk Rock Museum. And it'll be
sure, whatever. The Punk Rock Museum. You know what? I offered to donate my black leather jockstrap with the spikes.
Yeah.
And I never heard back from them.
They thought it would start a riot. Yeah.
And also they whatever. I mean, I hope everybody makes $1 million, but all those people, whatever. I mean, that guy, what's his name? The Mike guy.
Yeah.
The NoFX guy, whatever.
Yeah.
He kind of gave me the hi hat the last time I saw him. And meanwhile, the time before that, we were doing fucking coke till fucking 5 o'clock in the morning. So, whatever.
Yeah. Well, he knows you're holding something over his head, and he's like pretends like it never happened.
Yeah, I guess, but it's like, what am I gonna go around telling people? Like he doesn't. What's that gonna get me? You know what I mean?
Well,
whatever. All these people, they think they're very important, and hey, maybe they are, but not in my world.
Inquiring minds want to know.
Yeah, people are fucking weird. They like to reinvent themselves.
I mean, that is a whole strange class of punk, right? Bands that blew up and for 30 plus years, like they've kind of existed like behind a barrier and in like backstages and stuff like that. That is a strange thing, right?
Like NoFX?
Yeah, like a NoFX. Like, I don't know how much connection they have to like actual normal ass people where like, Paul, you're still playing shows where like if someone was actually upset, they could like make an attempt to grab you off the stage. Yeah,
they could. And I've invited it, I've heard people, I'm going to do this. I'm like, all right, well, I'll tell you what. I'll put you on the guest list +1 because you're going to need a friend to take home later. Okay? It's like I'm not hard to find. Come get me if you're so inclined. They never do, and it's like whatever. I mean, I was talking about this before. It's just it's like with a friend of mine. It's like another world these days with what's going on. I mean, the kids that are coming around now, I can't relate to them, and I'm not going to try because that'd just be creepy. And it's like I do what I do. If they're more than welcome to come and hang out and see the show, don't get me wrong. I'm not going to go out of my way to alienate them, but I'm not going to target them as potential merch sales either.
No. It's like if you see a kid in an Outcast shirt, like, what do you gatekeep?
Yeah, no, it's cool. It's like, okay, that's great,
Yeah.
But it's like a lot of this, like with the newer bands and stuff like that. Hey, they're doing good. The kids are having fun. Like, let them. I mean, who am I to say that, just because I don't like it? It's not meant for me.
Right. Yeah. You know what? There was some guy, right, about an hour ago I was talking to, and they're doing like a show in Portland, like a museum thing, like a real museum thing with like punk from 77 to 83. And he's like going, well, we're, the people who aren't dead, we're going to send out these invites to all these people. And I go, you know what? You should invite some new people too. Like, look at the young kids who are doing the shit today. I mean, they know they weren't part of it, but I'm sure it had something to do with them being where they are today, you know? So
yeah, no, sure. If they didn't, at least enjoy it,
Yeah,
and
course.
maybe some of them, feel justified for doing what they're doing, and perhaps even making lifers out of some of these people. You know what I mean? It's like, you gotta be nuts to stick around with this crap anyway. And God knows I got mental problems.
Well,
So,
maybe the kids can see and go see. It'll be like a lesson. They'll see us and go, "Fuck that! I'm getting out of it right now. I don't want to do this."
that's what they do. They smart. A lot of them do. Because once they start getting careers and spitting out kids, they're like, I'm out of this. And then they go back and they have their fond memories and stuff like that. Whereas, like, say me and you, we're stuck with this shit. I mean, it's like, you think about, I'm just going to take it easy. How's all that? How does that last, you get tired of that real fast.
The last refuge of a scoundrel.
Oh, definitely. Without a doubt.
That's right. Jerry, what was the first punk band that you fell in love with?
Honestly, probably the Sex Pistols. Because it was just so, it was like the thing that was available. And I was a, kid in junior high, and it just hearing them, I got that record when it came out around Christmas time, and I was however old, and like at a Sears, and listening to it with Bodies and that kind of stuff. It just blew my mind. I've heard Lenny Bruce or whoever, people say fuck and stuff like that, but the music to back it up, it was just like, wow, this is crazy. This was, it was definitely the Pistols and the Ramones, the stuff that was accessible to people at Kmart or whatever, and then I did the deep dive and got into the Portland stuff and like the Wipers, shit like that.
Yeah. How about you, Paul?
Definitely the Pistols, because I just thought it was crazy. Sid Vicious killing his girlfriend and all that shit. I just thought that was nuts. I mean, because when I was a kid, I was like, Cheap Trick and Alice Cooper. I still like early Cheap Trick, and I love Alice Cooper. I was into Kiss and everything like that because I was a kid. But then when the punk rock thing happened, that shit just didn't stand a chance. I mean, these people are killing each other. And so I was like, this is nuts. And everybody hated them. And I was like, I got to find out what this is about. So it's definitely the Pistols and the Plasmatics. Because they were just they were fun. They were crazy. And blowing up cars and chainsaws and flopping around with their tits and everything. I mean, that was fun. I mean, that was good. I liked them a lot.
Paul, you went to that show with the Pier, right?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, that was one of the first ones. One of the first shows I ever went to, actually. Yeah.
Paul, tell us about it. Break it down for us.
I don't remember. I mean, it was a great show. I mean, I went with basically myself, really, and a couple of older guys that I knew and that I met or whatever, but I didn't really know them or whatever because nobody I went to school with or anything like that. We're into any of that shit. And I took the train into the city and found my way down there, and there you go. I mean, I did that a lot when I was a kid. I went by myself a lot because, I done a lot in school. I had a couple of friends here and there, but they were into punk or shit like that, and not till like a little bit later or whatever. So I would just take the train and go in and find my way around. I found CBGB's by accident. You know what I mean? Except like the first time I remember I took the train into the city, had to be around 1980, late 80, 81, early 81. Yeah, it had to be around early 81. And I got on the train. I was living in Yonkers at the time. Got on the train, and I just knew I had to go downtown. So I went downtown, fucking Wall Street. I get out. I'm like, okay, this can't be it. So I just started wandering around like a maniac, like this weird fucking punk rock kid. And then I was like, oh, okay, let me start walking uptown more. And I start walking up Broadway, and I'm like, okay, I'm on Broadway. And I'm like, but this ain't the Broadway I see on the TV. So, and I'm passing Canal Street and shit like that. And then I get to Bleecker Street. I'm like, oh, Bleecker Street, Bleecker Bob's, this, that, blah, 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 all this crap, which I had been to before, but that was on the west side. But then I happened to look east on Bleecker, and I saw the fucking awning. Like I walked down Bleecker a little bit and I saw the awning to CBGB's. I was like, oh, there it is. All right, great. I want to know where this is. And then I just started walking further east and walking around and finding different stores because I remember hearing the addresses or the names, and that's how I got really my bearings, just like by wandering around like a little fucking freak, and it was fun. It was fun, honestly. Finding records.
In New York, the people you could walk around and see, Cheetah Chrome walking around on the street and people like that.
Yeah, exactly. You see these people. You found St. Mark's place, and boom, there everybody was. Walking around or hanging out or whatever. And it was kind of cool. It was kind of cool. I was still very shy and antisocial, so it wasn't like walking around making friends.
Can I have your autograph?
Yeah, and I'm like seeing like other people who I later became friends or friendly with later on in the scene, just like other kids like me or whatever. But like when I first saw them, I just like, oh, okay, there's other people like me, but I didn't feel a bond enough that I was gonna go and introduce myself and go hang out. I was still like, all right, I know that they're there and I'm here and something's got to be going on that we both like. And it was very, very, very antisocial when I was a kid. Very, very. I had horrible skin. Everybody hated me in school. I had a good family life. I can't complain about that. But I just, I had kids wanting to fight me. I had kids' parents wanting to fight me, and it was just, I just didn't like anybody. So I was like that for a long time, very long time. Still am sometimes.
A lot of songwriting material there.
Yeah. Oh God, there was so many horrible ones. I burned so much shit. I did that a couple of years ago. I had tons of shit that I wrote over the years. I never did that to win. And when I moved up here to upstate, I got a burn barrel outside by the garage. I just threw them all in the burn barrel, set them on fire.
Punk Rock Museum.
Yeah, welcome. I'll send him the ashes.
Who were the first punk lyricists that you guys connected with? Because you guys are two of the best hardcore lyricists in the history of the genre. You talk about the first punk bands that you get into, but how about like the actual lyricists that you connect with?
Well, me, I actually tried to emulate Darby Crash. I'll admit it that I tried to rip off his whole style. I got a thesaurus and a dictionary, and because first of all, I had to look at what he was singing about. You listen. I listened to that record when it came out when I was a kid, and I didn't understand any of it, and I had to read what he was, look up these big words, and it wasn't like beat on the brat. It was a little, it was way beyond that. So then I was like, wow, this is pretty deep. And then of course, like Slash magazine and stuff just praised him about, how cool it was. And then when we started playing, I was like, yeah, I guess that's, I don't want to do like beat on the brat or, whatever, or. So yeah, I copped his style, and it was, it took you down a road. It's good stuff. He's probably the best lyricist, I think, still. There's other, like Shane McGowan and people like that are great storytellers, but he's not really a punk, I guess, or he was at one time, but shit like that. And there's a lot of, I don't know. And punk rock, there's, Paul's a great lyricist. Paul's a really, poetic, like Shane, people like that, but there's not a lot of really good, it's not very deep. It's the energy and the feelings there, that makes up for it. You don't really need a lot of, heartfelt lyrics when the music's going that fast. Plus he gets lost. And, but yeah, I'm myself, Darby.
Yeah, I was first attracted by the energy and everything of the music and stuff like that, and the anger, and even the violence, honestly. And but lyrically, there were certain songs that I dug, but I didn't really start paying attention until a little bit later on. When I started, writing myself, and I would have to, honestly, one of my favorite lyricists is probably Elvis Costello.
He's great.
I think he's fantastic.
Yeah.
Tom Waits. And then I just started finding people by accident here and there. And, Vic Goddard from the Subway Sect with the What's the Matter Boy record. The lyrics on that record, I think, are just transcendental, honestly. And, I didn't really, like I said, I like the energy and stuff like that first. And then when I started, I guess when I had my heart broken for the first time, that's when I really started paying attention more to like lyrics and then jumping off the cliff and diving and swimming around in somebody else's misery and looking for my own life raft. You know?
Makes good lyrics.
yeah. That's I did a lot of that. Jesus fucking Christ.
It's too bad that, a lot of stuff you can't with the music when people are some of the really aggressive fast stuff is like, so the music is so overwhelming, just a barrage of fucking energy and people are pissed off and they're screaming and you kind of get the gist of it. They're mad about something.
Yeah, but you don't know what.
Yeah. But it's there. It's like a wall of power.
Yeah, no, it's exactly. And I mean, then like it wasn't until like later that I really started to appreciate like Joe Strummer, like a lot of his lyrics and stuff like that. And oh Jesus fucking Christ, I can't even remember half these fucking. Chris Bailey from the Saints.
Oh yeah,
the Saints had some amazing fucking lyrics, especially. And I like probably my Eternally Yours, great album, but Prehistoric Sounds is probably my favorite album, the third album. I love that fucking album.
Yeah, it's funny. I remember reading like a NME or something because I remember I was going out with this girl. I was like 15 when Joy Division was around, and I remember when the guy committed suicide, like it was when it happened, and I had that first record and I was into the lyrics, but I remember there was like an NME once and they said something that was kind of funny. Was it? And they were laughing about some band. They were laughing about some band. It was like about the lyrics. And they said, well, we're not like, and they quoted somebody and I can't remember. And I was like, well, that's kind of snotty of them to say that. And it was like, it's like, well, we're not deep like, like fucking The Unwanted or somebody like that, or the Cockney Rejects or something like that. Like that's kind of snotty, but still, it's kind of If you're gonna write these books, there are these things that are going to be around forever. Maybe on your tombstone someday you should make every word as powerful as possible. You don't have to
try at least, Yeah. With Joy Division, I love Joy Division, But there was I read his wife spoke and I realized he was a jerk.
I never read that.
Oh, it's really good. He was a fucking asshole. He really was. Mr. Depression, this, that, and the other. He's fucking around with his other broad. He's just a wife and kid at home. He was like an attention whore. He was kind of a dick.
Yeah. The thing was, he was so young.
It kind of makes sense. If you read it, you're like, now some of these lyrics is kind of making sense here.
Yeah. But he was so young.
Yeah, no, exactly. He was young. Don't get me wrong. I was a fucking raging asshole when I was a teen.
Oh yeah, sure. I was a raging asshole when I was an adult.
Yeah, don't get here. Yeah.
It's crazy. It's crazy. Those people, all those fucking even Sid Vicious or whoever. They were such young,
Yeah, no, exactly. You see like all these pictures now. I see them now. When I saw them back in the day, when I was a kid, I'm like, look at these guys. They're crazy. Look at this shit. Look at this guy. Look at this guy. I look at them now. I'm like, Jesus Christ. Well, they're a bunch of kids.
Yeah, babies.
It's fucking, it's wild. It's really like, the early English punk scene and stuff where I'm a fucking Anglophile. I'm not gonna fucking hide it. I prefer a lot of the English shit anyway. I always did, and yeah, I'm looking at some of these old pictures, like even some, like because you'd think it was a youth movement, and you see all these pictures, like back when I was a kid, seeing all these pictures of like these big group of skinheads walking down the street. You're like, oh man, that badass! Look at these guys, they'll kick somebody's ass. Blah, blah, blah. You look at it now, you're like, holy shit, they're all a bunch of fucking teenagers. Look at these guys.
Yeah.
Who are they gonna beat up?
Other kids.
Yeah, exactly.
So Paul, you always liked all the Irish stuff. I remember talking to you before about that, like the Outcasts and.
Oh, the Outcasts! Yes, I love the Outcasts. I did that. My first girlfriend, actually, girlfriend. If you want to call her that, the first girl to break my heart with a heroin overdose. She turned me on to them. Really, I mean, I had the. I already had the Blood and Thunder record. I think I don't remember, and I had a couple of 7 inches. But she turned me on to the first album, which was impossible to find, and she turned me on to that, and I was like, oh my, that record is just so. And I mean, I love the undertones,
all the good vibration stuff.
Yeah, exactly. And the undertones they were great. And the Outcasts, and it's just like a trip. You see like these young kids, and they're writing these freaking like, really like poppy type, like love songs. And meanwhile, they got like bombs going off outside their houses and shit, they got a holy war going on down the block, and this pimply kid's writing about some girl,
Yeah, and then the Clash go over there and use it for a photo op to dress up in their combat fatigues and look like
yeah.
That's the difference between the Irish and the English punk rock. It was right there.
Yeah, the pictures. I just love all the old pictures of some of these punk bands or oi bands, whatever. Like hanging out like in a junkyard, like sitting on a pile on a pile of like old used tires and shit. Like, this is where we hang.
Yeah.
This is where you normally find us here on the scrap heap.
Well, that's what I always thought about. That's what I always thought about the New York when I was a kid, and I'd see pictures of like when the all the Lower East Side shit started with the buildings and stuff. You'd hear stories about those buildings with people stick their arm through a hole in the wall, somebody would shoot them up on the other side and all this kind of shit. You're like, whoa, that's
Yeah, it was like that at one point in time. I mean, down there in Lower East Side, it was a shithole. By the time we were going down there in the early 80s and everything, like 81, 80, and 82 and shit like that. I mean, there were brick graveyards all over the place, just buildings torn down and empty buildings full of whoever, junkies or whoever, these punk rock kids or whatever the hell it was. And I just never found any attraction to that. Like I grew up piss poor working class. I had a good family. We didn't have much, but we loved each other, thank God. And if I didn't have my own bed, I had a couch to sleep on or something like that. My mom was a good cook. So living in an abandoned building just because I can hang out with these other jerk-offs just never really had any attraction to me,
Yeah. Well, I always heard that, like, I always felt myself, because I grew up kind of, lower class too. And people who grow up in shit don't worship it. You don't, you want to better yourself and fucking make, I don't want to stay there. I don't want to stay in this place.
Exactly. And it's like some of them, like, some of the people, like, didn't have a choice. They either had, a really bad, home life back with their family, stuff like that, and they ran away, and this is what they had.
You're not going to get a job when you're 14. You're not going to get a job.
And I can understand that. But a lot of people were just doing it because it was a thing to do.
Right.
And I just never saw that as a thing that I wanted to do. I said, no, thank you. I don't need this.
Hey, Paul, did Fathead Suburbia play at A7?
Yeah, we played the A7, the actual A7 once. That was our first show. That was in July 6th or something like that in 82. And then about a month or so later, we played the A7 Annex 2+2, which felt that building collapsed. We played there. And we played there. That was, but a month or two later, the night that I don't know. There was some fucking rumor. The dead Kennedys just happened to be in town. Whether or not they were, I have no idea. But supposedly they were in town and they were going to come by the club and do a surprise show. Well, 5 o'clock in the morning, they never did.
I love those kind of rumors. I've been to so many parties, like at the Stray Cats party, you know, like that. Like, nope, nothing ever happens. You know?
Exactly. Oh, they're in town. Oh, that's great. What are they doing? Are they going to the deli? What
playing a closet. They're going to go to our little punk
down for a
club.
ball game? What are they in town?
Jerry, when was the first time you went to New York, and what was your experience?
The first time I think is when that was when we went to the tour we did in the 90. It was 89 or 90. We didn't tour. We were here in Portland and we had everything we needed, and bands would come up and down the coast. So we would have tons of shows here and nice little decent scene. And we'd go to LA or Seattle or Vancouver, but little teeny tours, but we never went east. There was no reason to go over there. So first time we did, we played like what was it called? That place, ABC No Rio and the Pyramid Club. And I like the Pyramid Club. That was really great. I blew fire and blew a fireball, and it caught the ceiling on fire. and I remember it was way before the Great White thing, but it was like this long club with one exit entrance at the very front, and it was packed, and there was all this confetti and light gels and shit on the ceiling and cobwebs and stuff, and the fire hit it, and it was the picture that Chris Boertz took for the Field of Darkness, that one with the fire. And man, and people were just like, I remember people like taking off their shirts and trying to put the fire out, and people were throwing their drinks on it and shit. And I was just really loaded, and I was just watching the fire spread on the ceiling, and I was like, wow, this looks great, you know? And they put it out, and then we came back a couple of years later and played CB's, and I remember Tom, Big Champion, he was the one that turned me on to Sheer Terror. He really, really liked Sheer Terror a lot. And so I remember when Paul came and visited us at the CB show, Tom was just like really blown away. And he was like, I was his high point for that trip. I remember.
I was going to get the shows. The first tour, I was out of town when you guys played New York, but we played with you guys in Boston on that tour.
Yeah. That was at the Rat.
Yeah, we played with you guys up there. Then I was out of town. I missed the New York shows and everything. But then I saw you at the CB show. And that was a good show. It was fucking hot as balls.
Yeah, I got some kind of chafed rash between my legs from fucking being hot and wearing the same clothes and sweating, soaking wet, and then like 120 degrees. And man, my legs were just bright red and rubbing together. My fat legs were rubbing together, and it felt like somebody had a blowtorch on them, man. It was like one of these things where you just fall over and just cry because it hurt so bad. It was like the worst chap I ever had in my life.
Life ain't easy when you're fat and greasy.
That's right. Wanted to jump in the river.
What do you guys remember about that Rat show?
It was.
I remember because it was the first time we were there, and I was, I liked all the Boston stuff. I thought, to me, some of that stuff was, I don't know. There's, some of the shit that's really tribal. It is almost just the most tribal. It's like, it's weird. It's like, to me, like some of the SSD stuff or the Iron Cross stuff, or some of the stuff. It sounds to me when I heard it, it reminds me of like people like pounding on logs, like dancing around in a circle with spears, like bo 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 bo. And I remember it was so tribal, so guttural.
Yeah, it's like the early sham stuff.
Exactly. Just chanting, just like.
Exactly.
And so we were up there. I remember doing like I think we busted into a Last Right song or slap shot songs, and we were kind of fucking with the Boston people, just like making jokes, we were in Kenmore Square and we're like just wasted. We're drunker and shit. And there's all these Boston people there and they weren't going to slap the beers out of our hands though,
Nah, they were, well, I remember that was the first time. I mean, I didn't really talk to you long. So I think I showed up late or whatever. I mean, I mean, you showed up in time to play, but I think you might have missed us. We went on second. I don't remember. But then I was like, well, they here, and then the record crew's on or something, blah, blah, blah. And then I went out back and I saw you. I was like, oh, they're here or something. That's why if I'm not mistaken. But I remember I go up there and you got a quarter beer or 40, whatever the fuck you had. I was like, Jerry, I was like, how you doing, Paul from Shiatara? And you go to him your beer. You're like, you're not straight edge, are you? And I was like, no, I'll take that. Thank you so much.
Yeah, we were fans. We were fans of all the, wherever we go. That was what, like I said, we go to New York and we look for these guys. We go to Connecticut and there was like, Seizure or whoever. And we go to, Indianapolis and like Sloppy Seconds. And so we were following all, we were in Chicago and it was like Chicago. So we were, Naked Reagan and stuff. So we were fans of all this stuff. And we were, to us, it was like an eye-opening, like a fanboy trip, we were having a good time.
Mm.
Yeah, there's a lot of parallels between you two. Like, in reading interviews and listening to you guys, like you're legit ass fans of music. You care about your lyrics. And then also you guys can be like flies in the ointment like that. Like Jerry, you talk about like kind of fucking around in Boston like that. You had all like the Ian McKay stuff there in like the late 80s. And then Paul with the Just Can't Hate Enough lyrics, like taking the Lower East Side jab. Like how has that always been kind of a part of your guys' personality, like jabbing at people? And how do you like reconcile that?
If they deserve it, you got to do it. If you see something coming, if I see something getting blown out of proportion or like blown up, like, somebody blows smoke up these people's asses, like, oh, you're so great, or this is so great, that's so great. It just makes you think, something wrong here. I mean, they're okay, but they're not fucking. They're not the best things since sliced bread. You gotta take a step back and calm the fuck down there, people. And and I always like I used to make fun of Boston a lot when I first started going because I like to keep the New York Boston rivalry, like the whole sports thing. Even though I'm not the biggest sport, I mean I love hockey. I'm missing the playoff game right now, matter of fact. But and I like to bust balls. You know what I mean? It's fun, but it's all in fun. If I really have a problem with somebody, I'll let it be known. But a lot of times I like to do it for fun because it's like, if people are going to take it seriously and get angry, then fuck you. You know what I mean? Take a walk. You know what I mean? I'm joking around with you. That's what happened when we got back together and we played up in Boston. Whatever it's 12, 13, whatever the fucking long ago it was, I put it back together. And we played up in Boston, packed, 600 people, some shit, whatever the fuck it was. And I'm making fun of Boston. And I'm saying that, and there was video of it that Al from Suburban Voice he filmed or whatever. He put it up on YouTube. And I'm making fun of Boston. And who takes the biggest offense to that? Al from SSD. He's grown man, gets all mad. You're like, why did somebody say that? He would have never said that one. And I'm like, come on, guy, really? And finally, his wife had to break it down to him. Like, Al, he's joking around. He's just what he does. It's all in fun. And I sent him a thing. I said that we talked funny on Facebook. I said, yeah, guy, I'm just busting balls. I'm having fun. I'm making fun of everybody. I make fun of myself. You know what I mean? It's like, right. And he calmed down. He's like, yeah, all right, I get it. So.
Yeah, if I ever see Don Rickles in an alley, I'm going to take him out with a baseball. I'm a fucking guy. How dare he? No, man, it's something. Yeah, it's like I say. It's at the end of the day, we're all shitbags.
Exactly. You know what I mean? It's like you gotta have fun and bust balls. You know, if you got a legitimate bone to pick about something or with somebody, sure. Then but you know, you should be able to tell the difference when somebody is vehemently angry about something and perturbed, where they want to speak out, or they had to speak out about it. And when they just joke around and bust their balls. If you can't tell the difference, then either one, you're a moron, or two, they're a really good orator.
Well, you know, like the Ian MacKaye thing, we did not. I mean, we didn't go after him like we're like, oh, this guy, we're gonna, you know, let's burn him. Honestly, that we had this photo, we had that photo, and we thought it was punk rock, over the top, a guy's ass, you know, with flies stuck to it. And we needed a name, and we started throwing around names for it. And we're like, what about this? What about this? And all the names were funny. They were funny. And somebody just goes, let's call it Ian MacKaye. And then, I mean, that almost kind of made you think. It was almost kind of like surreal. It wasn't really like, it wasn't obvious. So it was punk and it was funny. And we called it that. And we had nothing against the guy. I never met him. I didn't know. And then it started this. It was a personal thing, and Henry Rollins got all pissed off at us, and everybody's going to twist my ears off and all this shit. And I'm like, it was a fucking joke. It was a joke, you know? It was, yeah, it was nothing personal, man. Serious.
Yeah, Rollins mad at you. What the hell?
I like Minor Threat was a good band. Minor Threat was a good band.
They were fun. I saw them 5-6 times. I was lucky enough to see them. They were a good band. They were fun.
Yeah, well, I saw Black Flag with Henry Rollins probably 5 or 6 times, and they weren't a fun band. They weren't a fun band.
Well, when Rollins first joined, I mean, it wasn't fun, but it was like a fucking that when he first joined, I thought they were great. I mean, he was a powerhouse.
Yeah. Well, I'm on the West Coast, so I'm on the West Coast, so I saw them with their second singer when they had Ron Reyes, and that was pretty punk rock.
Yeah, I mean, Dez is one of my favorite singers with them.
They were great.
I like the Dez stuff. But when Rollins first joined, he was a powerhouse. They were something to be reckoned with. And then they got fucking boring. Boring ass long stupid songs. I don't know what the hell they're talking about.
Did you ever see the new stuff with a new singer?
Oh, well, you see that what's fucked up about that whole thing is I see that, and it's whatever, you know, good luck, but it's I guess because they had Reyes back that for a minute, and supposedly that guy, the skateboarder guy, went up on stage and basically told Reyes to take a hike. You're out the band. Yeah, that's what I heard. That's what happened. Like, I guess it was all planned out. That Greg didn't wanted this guy to sing or something, and they were on. This is what I had heard, and they were on stage playing. Reyes in the middle of a set, and this guy comes storming on stage. Oh, you know, I'm Mr. Angry Guy, and basically gave him the hee-ho without like being physical. Like, you're done, get out, you know, like that. That's what I heard anyway. That's it's fucked up when you think about it. I'd like to see video. I mean, it's one of those things where I hope it's true, but I kind of hope it ain't. Only because I would love to see the video of it. Like, it's like certain stories like that. I just want to be true because it's just so fucking funny. You know,
well, it's like that movie with Marky Wahlberg where he jumps up on with yeah. You know what would have been funny if you would have done the thing like at the that place in Harlem where the guy comes out with a broom and sweeps him off stage. You know,
Man Sims. Yeah, that would have been good. That would have been fun. You know, because it's like you want stories like that. Because like all the stories that I've heard about HR when he started losing his fucking mind, that I heard that I wish were true. I don't know if they are, but I kind of wish they were. You know. Like he was playing on stage or whatever, and then when he started losing his fucking mind or whatever the hell his fucking problem was, and he's sitting on the drum rise and he's not doing nothing, he's just boring, basically talking the lyrics or whatever. And supposedly, what I'd heard somebody threw a shoe at him. They hit him in the head with a shoe.
It was like Newton's apple.
You know, like a cat in like a Tom and Jerry cartoon. You know, but it's like, and like he got hit with the head and he stormed off stage or something. But which I hope. I mean, I've been looking for it on video. I've never found it because I would kill for that on video. But it's like not even so much the fact that he got hit with the shoe, but the person that threw it, you gotta be mad to throw your own shoe at somebody.
Yeah.
You know, especially at a show. You ain't got an extra shoe. You're limping home pissed off after that. Yeah. You know, that motherfucker, you know, with one shoe on your foot and your other foot is soaking wet. You know? You gotta be mad.
Shoeless and clueless.
Exactly. Mad with one shoe. You know, oh God, it's like stories like that. And then there's another one which I hope is true, but where he supposedly HO tried to board a plane with like a parakeet in a cage or some shit, and they wouldn't let him board with it or something like that. With the bird or something. They wouldn't let him on the plane with it. So he hid the bird under his hat and walked onto the plane, and then the bird escaped and is flying back and forth in the plane.
Wow.
It's like, hey, it's probably not true, but God, I wish you would.
Yeah, those are. Yeah, the stories are always. It's like that. What's that game, Chinese telephone or whatever it is, where you pass it.
Exactly. You know, it's some of these stories. I know they're ridiculous. But I just wish they were true because they're so great. They're so great. You know, like my boy Roy, who plays drums, the guy from Nausea, who plays drums with Ministry and shit like that. I had heard that he, like, not that I follow it, is it that he was playing with Ozzy for a while. That's just what I'd heard, but I guess he did.
He was. I remember he was.
He was. Okay, but he was playing with, and I'd heard he was playing with Ozzy for a while, and they did like a tour thing or something, and then they came back. Oh, then like after the tour, they're at practice, and Ozzy walked into the practice room and was like, "Who the fuck are you? You're not my drummer." He's like, "I just got to tour. You're not my drummer. You got." I threw him out the room. And I was like, which I think is beautiful. But and I asked Roy about it. He said, no, that never happened. I was like, fuck. You know,
when we went through a time in the early 2000s where Tom was still alive and we were pretty much just playing for drug money. And we went through a bunch of different people and I met this guy one night at a show and I was talking to him and I was looking at this guy and I was talking to him and I go, "Who are you?" Like that. And he goes, "I played drums in your band." Like that. And I never forget it. I felt so bad for the kid. I was always just like, I mean, we played shows with this guy and I fucking was so out of my head. I forgot it.
Oh, that's great. No, I just wish, because like you say, you gotta laugh at this shit, because it's ridiculous, and it's a ridiculous. And you think about it, like it was thankfully not as bad as we once was and stuff about certain things, but we still lead ridiculous lives. I mean, we're doing a podcast for Christ's sakes. What the fuck is that all about?
Yeah. My bad on that one, huh?
Yeah, nah. It's enjoy it. Don't get me wrong. I appreciate it, but it's fucking weird.
It is. Yeah. No, I get that. The other thing, just you guys being like real fans of music. Sometimes you listen to like old school people talk, and it's just like the dramatic stories. It's never about like a connection to music. And obviously, Jerry, your love of music is documented. I mean, from your first 12-inch, right? The record collectors are pretentious assholes. Like, can you talk a little bit about tracking down records? Like, I heard a story about like you guys trying to track down the Fix records by calling like everywhere they went across the country.
Well, again, that was Tom. Tom was the collector. I like stuff that I'll listen to stuff I like, and I'm not really into collecting too much. Paul's the collector. He's the deep dive. I mean, he knows.
I collect stuff that I listen to, though.
Yeah, but you've forgotten more shit that I will ever know about. Like, when I have questions about stuff, I write to Paul and ask him, and he's just like, "Oh, yeah, he'll know about these obscure people. That one Canadian guy, I picked up that record and he did that song that like Robert Gordon covered. And I never heard of him before. And I just picked up this record and you're like, oh yeah, that's a good record, but try this one. This is even a better one. I was like, fuck. So he right away, you knew what, but yeah, Tom was like that. Tom would do but I'm just a fan of music. I love the music. And if it's good, it's good. And if it's bad, I'll try to like it. But yeah, I'm not a really hardcore collector. I like what I like.
Yeah, but it was kind of a symptom of really liking music back then. You kind of had to collect a little bit because everything was a physical piece of music, right? So you had to have a collection just by being a fan of music. If you were into stuff that wasn't on the radio.
Well, yeah, or try or roll the dice. There'd be like ads for like the new Germ single Lexicon Devil on sale for $250. Send $250 to Slash Records, and you're like, should I send $5 and maybe get 2 of them? It might sound like shit, and then stuff like that, or hear something from radio shows. We had a really good radio show in the late '70s here in Portland. This guy that moved to L.A. and started working with Black Flag, Joe Carducci, and he would play. He would get all the Rough Trade stuff and all the, that's where I heard like Joy Division and stuff. But you hear that kind of shit and like, Swell Maps or The Fall or whatever. And then you'd like, send away for it and get it. But yeah, I mean, I'm more into collecting now. I got stuff now. I wasn't, it's hard to collect when you're on drugs and you're homeless,
I always told people, it's like, what? You want to expand your record collection? Anybody regular? Get your friend hooked on dope.
Yeah. There's a couple records I saved. There was a couple records that I never sold because when I was, doing that stuff because it wasn't worth $5 to me to have this record. It's like, I'm like, it's worth it to me to keep this, it's worth it to me to keep this record.
But because it's like, I mean, I was thinking about it the other day because I got the reissues and shit like that coming out, which is neat and all, I guess, whatever. But it's like, back when you're young and there was no internet, there was no any of that crap or Spotify or any of this shit. No, there was nothing. Yeah, you had records or tapes. And like you said, sometimes you sent away the money and you got it and it was either garbage or you didn't get nothing. Sometimes you sent the money away, you never saw that freaking $5 again. But then when you got something, it was fucking like you had something. You had it in your fucking hand. This stupid little black record in a fucking a Xerox fucking cover, folded over cover, with another folded up Xerox with fucking handwritten or typed lyrics if you were lucky, folded inside of it. But you had it, and you're like, and you got this, and you learned it in your fucking hand, and you were happy, and that was something, and it had substance, whether it was good or even if it sucked, it had substance to you. I got fucking the last fucking record I got re-released. It comes in 6 different colored fucking vinyls. It just kind of cheapens it. You know what I mean? It's like, it's neat. I want it to be out there so people who didn't get it the first time could get it. But then it's like, the 6 different colored vinyls and look at the cover. Oh, look, we got test pressing. Don't get me wrong. I need money. but still, you just feel cheap after a while. Like,
no, well, we do. I mean, because we have a place in Portland that presses records, Cascade Records. They have a record pressing plant here. So we can press different colored records and 100 of these and 100 of those. But the thing is, it's me sending them away. So I sit down and I write, people send me back letters and they're like, I haven't got a handwritten letter in 20 years. It blows my mind that you actually sat down and write to me. I'm like, yeah. Well, of course. What else am I going to do? Yeah, here. Have a piece of candy too or something, or I send Paul send you a jar of pickles or something.
Yeah.
Like, I love sending shit in the mail. It's like even not international anymore, but it keeps. I like supporting my post.
No, it's cool, but it's sometimes I just feel like I'll send stuff out here and there if I'm selling. Like, I'm the house husband, here right now. I'm not fucking working in the clubs no more. I'm not babysitting drunk white people. I'm taking care of the house. You know, I'm doing yard work. I'm cooking. I'm doing what I can. Yeah, you know, my wife, she's the breadwinner, really. You know, she works for the United Nations and whatnot. And I got nothing to complain about. I honestly have the best life I've ever had, and I never thought I would ever have this. But it's like, you know, every now and then, you know, I make my money from playing shows or selling merch here and there. And I got these records, I'll sell them, and you know, people bid up on it, whatever. You know, it's cool, I guess. But I don't know. I just feel weird about, like, I try not to be a dick about things. I really do.
It sounds like you had a great opportunity to sit and write some letters, man. Just start, you know.
You would want, trying to write anything these days. I got we're working on the new record now. We're hoping to go into July to record, and I still got to. I mean, don't want to do a 7-song thing, but I still got to do lyrics. I'm fucking shot. I got stuff in my head. There ain't nothing coming out. I'm thinking about making this next record like my Blue Note period and just start doing scat. You know what I mean? I am so ready. It's like, give me the boom body. You know what I mean? Like, what the hell? Nobody did that before. What? I'm shot. So when it comes to like writing letters, I'm like, when I was younger, thank God, I'm writing everybody. I'm doing the whole Megillah. But like now, oh Jesus fucking Christ, I don't know. I get aggravated, but I try. I don't wanna. I don't wanna get aggravated. Everybody,
you know what, Paul, right there, what you just said. That sounds like a great lyric right there. What you just, you know, it reminded me of that, like that Perubu where he's like, there's glasses breaking, and he's like, it's a room, I'm in a room, there's a chair, there's a window, there's a chair, there's a room, smash, it's a room. Yeah, there you go. That's your scat, you know. It's like, I don't want to be aggravated. I don't want it. It's like, there you go. You
never know. I mean, I got to try something. I got work ahead of me, and I'm fucking I'm pulling out I'm going for the short ones here. You know what I mean? I'm pulling the short ones out of here, and I'm yeah. Oof, I drive myself fucking nuts. You know, I put banging my head against the fucking wall trying to get this shit out of it. Then you put out the fucking record, and you're proud of, you're happy with it, and all this shit. And then these jerkos only want to hear the first album anyway. It's like, fuck you. You scumbags.
Somewhere in your head, there's a song about podcasts.
Oh, no. Leave me out of this, dude. Come on.
I gotta blame somebody.
That's right. Rake me over the coals. Both you dudes have done punk covers of non-punk songs that are like my two favorite of all time. Poison Idea doing "Open Your Eyes" by Lords of the New Church, and then Sheer Terror doing "The Boys Don't Cry" by The Cure. What is your take on each other's song there? Jerry, you can go first.
I like Sheer Terror's version of it. I think it's really good. I mean, it's weird. It's I remember when I first heard the thing, it sounded like the bass was doing the guitar leads. I mean, the guitar's got a crazy sound on it. Is it the bass playing that lead?
It's the bass doing the dang, dang, ding, ding.
Oh, it is.
Yeah.
That's how I remember it. Yeah, I remember doing that. I love it when punk bands do. You know, I think they should change it a little bit. Like when Slapshot did "Personal Jesus," I thought it'd be funny if instead of like "reach out, punch face," you know, I thought that'd be funny. You know, they just change it a little bit. And Paul, you know, like Paul's thing where he says, you know, Robert Smith can suck my cock or whatever. You know, it's pretty funny.
That was young and stupid. What was I, 20, 21 maybe when I did that fucking thing? And you know, I mean, I did this. What we did it for fun, for the hell of it. So I do love The Cure, but I'm not there like just talking shit. I'm not stupid 7-inch. I talk about the squatties and this crap. I still got people to say, "What about squatties?" Right? To say, "You shut the fuck up! Why are you goddamn record? Well, you know, come on, get off of it already. You want to know what squat? Go to Germany. Look at some of the squats over there. They're fucking better than most of the hotels I stay in."
Oh yeah. Well, Paul, you and me we covered a White Eye song.
That's right. We did. With Day to the Five, Philadelphia. Yeah.
No, that's a cover. That's a cover.
That came out good. That came out really.
Talk about the experience of doing that. Whose idea was it, and how did it all come together?
It was the band from Philly. It was that guy Met, I believe.
Yeah.
Who was the drummer? He contacted. This was before really the internet, as far as I know, and contacted me. Called me, and then he had it with Jerry. I don't know who recorded who first, and I drove to Pennsylvania with my buddy, and I did it at some studio that they had, and I think Jerry had to do it through the mail.
Yeah, that's when they had analog. That's when they sent the big reel-to-reels in the mail, and we hooked it up, and it was almost like being there. And I heard it, and I was like, yeah, let's do it. And they mixed it together. It was like,
yeah, we did record it. I recorded, like, we were both recorded. We both sang the whole song. And then they just spliced it together or whatever.
Did you ever see Why Die back in the day?
I saw them twice. I saw them at Gildersleeve's. I think it was with the Circle Jerks, I think. I saw them then. And I also saw them at the second Sam Haines show at Rock Hotel. I saw them. They were great, Why Die. I loved it. Sam Haines was fucking boring.
I mean, yeah.
Like that Sam Haines, we went. Yes, I loved the Misfits. I thought they were fun to go see and sing along. They were a fun band. That Sam Haines, I'll still say it to this day. The Sam Haines records, it just sounds like you listen to a Misfits records and somebody's got a pillow on top of your speakers.
So many. I mean, I played in a band. This guy who used to play in the band, The Gits. He's from, I think, Sheepshead Bay. He grew up there when he was a kid. And, he's like you, Paul. He'd tell me he would go to these shows back in the day, in the late 70s in New York. And he's like, yeah, I'd go over to my friend gave me this single by this band Fallout. And we go to the guy's Pete Steele. I met this guy named Pete who lived down the street from me. And you hear these kind of stories like that. And you're like, seeing Why Die play with, Sam Haines' second show, shit like that. It's like,
yeah,
there was a lot of good.
It was fun. I saw a lot of shit it was there. Like, I saw a lot of shows by accident, too. Well, not even so much by accident, but, by accident. And I was just like, there used to be, when I was a kid, I was really, I'm a big reggae fan. Like, the root stuff and some of the early dance hall and whatever. And WBAI out of New York was a station. And they used to have a reggae show on late at night. And, the DJ, I can't remember his name. Anyway. And they play a lot of great shit, like mostly a lot of roots, early dancehall shit, whatever. And I would fall asleep listening to it. And they would announce shows of Gregory Isaacs or whoever's playing at these fucking clubs in the middle of fucking Jamaica, Queens and stuff like that. And I, like a stupid ass, a fucking 16-year-old fucking white kid, all right, I'm going to a show. Like I'm going to some fucking hardcore show. I'll take the train to Jamaica. I'll just walk up to this club. I am the only fucking white person there, first of all. And these dreads, everybody's staring at me. Who is this fat, bald-headed white kid? And why is he here? It's like algebra. This ain't no place for you. It was like that. It was, yeah. And I was no threat to anyone. by no means. But they were like, I did that twice. The first time they let me in and they just made me sit by the door. They're like, just sit here. And I saw Gregory Isaacs. And the second time, who the fuck was I going to see? I want to see Mighty Sparrow or somebody. I forget. And he wouldn't let me in. They were like, no. And I had to take the train all the way back. Wow. But I think about that now. I mean, it was bad enough back in the early 80s, taking the subways and shit like that late at night. It was dangerous, but for the most part, if you didn't act like a jerk, you were relatively okay. Relatively. But
did you ask for the autograph?
Huh? Yeah. I had no business going to Jamaica, Queens in 1984 or 1983. I had no business being there at 10 o'clock, 11 o'clock at night. Not at all. But like I said, I was no threat or anything. So it wasn't like they were going to, they were just like befuddled. I said, what the hell are you doing here? And I was like, well, I heard it on the radio that the show was thinking I'm going to some punk rock show. Yeah, I was an idiot.
That's great. It reminds me when we were in New Orleans and Chris, our bass player, Chris Carey, passed away, and we played in New Orleans and we got done and our flight left like at 7 a.m. We were leaving, but we got back to the hotel and he's like, I want to go get some crack. And he's like, yeah. So he's like, give me the money I made, my share of the money from the trip. And he in New Orleans, it was like the Fifth Ward or something. He went to this place and he came back, found crack. He went to this party in New Orleans and he was the only white guy there. And he said he remembers we were like dividing up his stuff. It's like, okay, you got his passport, you got his bass, the cab's here. We're getting in the cab and all of a sudden we look, the sun's coming up and here he comes running down the street. Gets in the cab with us and tells us this story about, being at this party and these people are like, dude, what the fuck are you doing here? And he's like, who are you? And he's like, I'm Chris Carey from Portland, Oregon. Like that. That fucking guy is insane. So he had a great time, smoked crack, danced all night long. He barely made it out of there. And like 2 weeks later, Hurricane Katrina hit. And he would have been stuck down there with no money, no passport. Wow. Nothing. I mean, yeah, he barely got out of there. It was funnier than shit. Talking about that made me think for a second about when I liked reggae too. I still do. And Ika Mouse came to Portland once, and I went down there with all my Ika Mouse records to have him sign them early. And for sound check, I watched him do the sound check. Then he went next door to the restaurant and was eating, and I'm standing there, and the guys came up like, what are you doing? I'm like, I'm asking Ika Mouse to sign my records. Like, well, he's eating. So I'm sitting there waiting and waiting and waiting. And finally I just go up to him at the table. I'm like, could you sign my records for me? And he's like, yeah, I'm eating, man. I'm like, they're for my brother. He's got cancer. And I told him, and so he's like, okay. He's like, what's your brother's name? And so I couldn't tell. For some reason, I didn't tell him my name, but I said Jason. So I got all these Ika Mouse records signed to Jason. I didn't think tell him Jerry, but it was back to we go full circle back to the signing, bothering the rock stars to have them sign your records again.
You know what? Actually, a couple of years back, what do you call it? At the place, whatever the fuck it was. It was a club in the city. It's not there no more. This was about 10 years ago or so, whatever the fuck it was. And Tesco V was out playing, and he had a Negative Approach out with him and stuff. Uh-huh. And he was doing like the Meatmen stuff. And they played two. And I actually, the coolest thing about that is Tesco's band were up there playing. Steve from the Fix was there in the audience. Oh wow! They went up and they played three Fix songs with Steve from the Fix. Oh, wow. That was fucking cool. I never thought I would see that ever.
Wow! So, see, that kind of stuff like that's great.
That was badass. I was like, oh! I went watching. I was like, oh my god, it was amazing.
That's cool.
But then this is when they put out the Touch and Go book that they compiled, like all the old issues and stuff.
Yeah, yeah.
And I bought it at the show. And Tesco's standing there, and I was like, hey, sure. And he's like, want me to sign? I was like, yeah, sure. And it was so loud in the club, or whatever, with music or whatever. He's like, what's your name? I was like, Paul. He's like, what? Paul? He's like, yeah, all right. He signs it. I take it back. It's like, to Walt. So I got a book signed for Walt here in my collection.
You can always make up a story to tell people you stole it from a guy named Walt.
It's from the Disney collection.
Yeah. Paul, did you get a chance to listen to the Open Your Eyes cover?
Yeah, I have that CD actually that you put out. It was on there. It had the Dead Boy songs on it too, or something.
Yeah,
it was like, I think it was just a bunch of cover songs.
Yeah, Jeff Dahl.
Yeah. No, I've heard that, so I'm familiar with it. No, I think it sounds great. Because I like the song, and like, but when it first came out, like the what do you call it? Lords of the New Church, I put like the first 7-inch I have. I might have the first album. I don't remember. And I was like, it's okay. I was like, all right, this is all right. I didn't like the stuff he did with the guys from Sham. What was that? The Wanderers or some shit like that? Before he did Lords of the New Church. I think they were called the Wanderers. I didn't really care for that record too much. But the Lord stuff I liked. And I was like, I think Poison. I honestly, Jerry being a buddy and all, and me being a fan, I have yet to hear a bad cover for Poison Idea, honestly. And I mean, you guys are really you knock them out the park. I mean, open my eyes. That's fucking great. I did for me personally. Fucking the harder they come. Wow.
Yeah, the way.
Wow, that is fucking phenomenal. Phenomenal.
Yeah, it was a good. I mean, yeah, those guys are good players. Good,
Yeah,
I was just along for the ride.
Yeah, no, I first heard that, I was like, holy shit! I was like, are you fucking kidding me? Yeah, no, I've yet to hear a bad cover from any of the things that you've done. Going up like with the last the record you just did here, whatever. And everything, and if anything, your voice has gotten better. Your crooning voices easily improved. So much. Your voice is definitely gotten better with age, I think.
Well, we're both like I said, we're both music fans, and I love just playing the songs that get me off. Doing like when we played the last shows in New York, we did the Rocky Erickson songs both night.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Just because that's what I love. That's what I like listening to, and it's like it's fun, and you feel put a little your own personal spin on it and see what happens. It's kind of like Rollins getting up there with Cyndi Lauper doing Rise Above.
Yeah. My wife's actually flying to London at the end of the month with her and her best friend, one of her best friends. She's a big Cyndi Lauper fan, and they're going over to see Cyndi Lauper at the Royal Albert Hall.
Oh wow!
At the end of the month, yeah. They making the trip out of it. She's like, I can afford it. I was like, go. How often are you going to be able to do that again or see that again? So,
do you know what she's doing? Is it like a set of the old, like she's pulling out her old set, or?
Honestly, I don't know. I mean, I imagine she's got to do the, run the gambit of like everything like that. I'd imagine anyway. I mean,
you know what? In a couple of weeks, we're going to go to a casino and see the Village People.
There you go.
Yeah, I don't even know which ones are still around.
I don't even know who's in the band. I DJ'd one night at the bar I used to work. One of the bars I used to work at, the city, Hi-Fi. I used to do brownies. But when it was Hi-Fi, towards the end, I was DJing when it was some sort of industry party or some shit like that. I forget exactly what it was. And I was DJing. I was playing like all my old like soul and northern and whatnot, crossover soul 45s and stuff. It's dance music. And Randy, the cowboy, he was there. And he came up to me, I was like, he wasn't dressed like the cowboy, but it was him, God. And he got up on stage and everything. He came up and he's just like, you are playing fabulous stuff. I was like, thank you so much. You don't know how much of a compliment that is to me right now.
Wow, that's cool.
Yeah, it was really cool. Yeah, I don't know if he still plays with them or not, though, but yeah, he was cool.
I knew a guy who was stationed in Los Angeles when the Village People did the video for In the Navy when they were down there, and they did it in front of an aircraft carrier. Yeah, and my friend was on that aircraft carrier when he was in the Navy, and he said, so I told him we were going to go see the Village People, and he goes, ask them if they remember filming that video, and it's like in San Diego. They were down there filming it, and we were on the ship. And I go, why? And he goes, because me and all my friends, we were like up on the thing. We were screaming down at him, disco sucks, disco sucks. And he goes, and the cowboy turned around and he goes, disco sucks money. Like, I go, that's a pretty saucy comeback.
Yeah, it is. That's good.
That's so good.
Oh, jeez.
I'll ask him.
Jerry, is there any first wave hardcore stuff that you think is like really underrated that you still like a lot?
The first wave of hardcore underrated?
Yeah, like stuff I've recently been way into that Rebel Truth 7-inch. You know, people don't talk about that one a lot. Are there any hidden gems that you like a lot?
You know what? There's all sorts of stuff that I and shit that I don't even know about, and I get turned on to because now that since everything, they're like leaving no stone unturned,
Right?
And things are popping up. You know, there's all sorts of stuff coming out, and that I've never heard of before, and I didn't know it was happening at the time, and I hear it now. There's like, you know, all the Killed by Death stuff, and there's this band from Chicago, not it was like a suburb of Chicago. I just got their album. It was a band like from the early 80s, and they had a female singer, and it was it's crazy. I was like, these people, I didn't hear about them then, you know. I just got this and I was listening to it. I fucking forgot their name. Damn. But like, yeah, there's all sorts of stuff like that that comes out. And you know what? And it sounds, some of it doesn't hold up, but the energy is still there. And it's, you know, if you could bottle something like that, it'd be fucking explosive. It's huge. So there's all sorts of stuff. There's, you know, the stuff where people are coming singing about Reagan or whatever and shit like that, it doesn't hold up because it's just the topic, but just the energy and the teenage angst. That's, yeah, there's all sorts of great stuff.
Yeah. And freaking like the Neos.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
That'll always be, you know, until, yeah.
Neos were great. Soldier. That's one of my favorite 45s on earth. I love that 45. Soldier, Neos, oh God.
Yeah, Soldier had to have come through Portland, didn't they, Jerry?
Yeah. Yeah, we knew those guys. They've, was it? Yeah, I used to go. That's how we kind of hooked up with the guys who became the Accused and the Farts. There was like, I lived in Portland, and there was not a really lot of punk bands, kids my age in Portland. There was a handful of them, about a dozen, but Seattle had a really big scene, and Soldier was happening, and Black Flag would go up there and play with Soldier. So I'd hitchhike back and forth all the time and go up there and stay in Seattle and see shows. And I went up there one weekend, and Soldier broke up, and they're like, yeah, we got this new band, the Farts. And it was Paul from Soldier, and Blaine was singing. And I was like, well, you guys want to come down and play in Portland? You know, I got a new band going, Poison Idea. And so we kind of one of our first shows was with one of their first shows. And so that's kind of how we made the connection. So yeah.
Yeah, no, there was a lot of good stuff. I mean, like, yeah, some of it don't hold up. You know, some of it's like, all right, enough. But there's like a lot of like little hidden gems you find here and there that maybe like people did, like I was saying the Neos, like some like some of the English shit, like 80. In England, like, you know, okay, yeah, the early punk shit or whatever. And then on 79, the power pop explosion. There was so much fucking great shit.
Yeah. I love, you know what? I love the English stuff, that the weird, like when it kind of got crusty and, you know, all the guys were sniffing glue and stuff.
Yeah.
The shit that sounds like it's just going to fall apart. Like, and then the Finnish guys were influenced by that.
That's some of that. The only two Finnish records I have the Bastards EP.
Oh, that's great.
That thing, and I have the Chaos Cadgers split. I have that. And both those records are just insane. I don't know what the hell they're yelling about, but it's nuts. It's fucking crazy.
It's great. I love that stuff because it's just like their name's Chaos, and the music sounds like chaos, and it sounds like you got, like, you know, 4 A strings on the bass tuned to different, you know.
Exactly.
It sounds crazy. It makes you, you know, there's some stuff that's so good that you just laugh. You hear it and you just start laughing because it just blows you away and it's funny.
Yeah. Like the The first disorder EP.
Oh yeah, it sounds like they're just ready to disintegrate. You know, they're falling apart. It's like crazy.
It's so overblown. It's like fucking. I love that record.
Yeah, it's hilarious.
Fuck yeah. Fuck yeah.
Dudes, this has been great. Maybe we can do it again sometime. Anything you guys want to wrap on? Anything else you want to talk about, Paul?
You know what, Paul? You're going back to Europe, right?
Well, yes, yeah. Well, we're only going for a couple of days. We were supposed to hopefully go for like a 10-day thing, maybe. Well, because we had the show. We're doing the festival in Spain, the Beach Beer Chaos. We're doing the pre-party. It's like on a Wednesday night in Badalona, Barcelona, whatever. And that's in August. We were going to try to jump off of that and do a couple, but then they had problems booking shows because of the Olympics and all this other shit or whatever, blah, blah, blah. Long story longer, we're doing that show, and we got one show in Marseille, whatever the fuck, however you fucking pronounce it, fucking France. Uh-huh. So we're doing that. We've got 2 shows, and then we're going to be hanging out because that was the cheapest we can get the fucking flights is we leave the following Monday. So I'll be in Spain by the beach.
Man, those guys, Spain, France, all those countries, they love rock and roll over there. Those people, you know.
Yeah, this is our first time going to Spain. We've never played Spain. We played everywhere else in Europe, just about, but we never played Spain. So this is the first time. It's gonna be a good show. To us in the Chisel, and great friends of mine, and they're fun. And then 2 Spanish bands, I believe. So we're doing that. And then we're going to be recording. Like I said, we're recording in July. We're shooting for a November release. We'll do like a mini LP, 7 songs. That's fucking plenty. I mean, if I had 14 in me, I'd fucking we put them out if they were good. But you know, I ain't gonna, you know. I gotta push my luck here. You know, it's like, here's 7 songs. It's enough. You know, you shut up and buy that record.
Yeah.
You know? And so we got that, and we also have another thing coming out before then, a limited thing that we're actually going to have for sale in Spain, and it'll be available to the rest of the people. And let's just say it's a 7-inch EP coming out on a foreign label, and it's 3 80s-ish cover songs.
Fun.
Let's just say that.
Yeah, right up our alley. Hey, Paul, have you gotten any of that the newer French oi stuff? They're really surging right now.
I like a lot of that stuff. I like Bromure.
Yeah.
I like the sax.
Reeks.
Oh, God. What the hell are they called? I have their fucking records. I can't think of it.
That Syndrome 81 band is like one of the best.
Syndrome 81 I have, and I have, Jesus Christ. I can't think of the names of these fucking bands. I have their albums and everything. I like the French stuff. I like a lot of the French stuff that's been coming out because it's got like this somber tone to it.
Yeah.
It's got this real somber tone, which I dig. And I like it. It's melodic. And then there's like a couple of bands from California. I heard, one band from California, Castillo.
Yeah.
They're good. Mesh out of Mexico, I like.
Yep.
I like Homefront.
Yep.
I think they're good. But it's like a lot of these people nowadays, like these whatever. It's like all these like skinhead kids that are running around. It's like something like calling me a skinhead again and shit. I remember when I was, you know, you can't be a skinhead. Everybody hated your fucking guts, and that's why I got into it anyway. It's freaking now it's almost like cosplay. You know what I mean? And but it's like back then it was like, you know, you're a skinhead. You know, you like this band or whatever. Now it's like, you're a skinhead. Yeah, you like Depeche Mode, and you know,
that's crazy.
It's these fucking kids, you know, these people that are fucking trying to say that second Blitz album is good. No, it ain't. That album sucked. All right? It sucked then and it sucks now. All right? Try to tell me that it's good. Fuck you. Fucking
Which was the second one? Which one was the second one?
Second Empire Justice.
You know, the one
with telecommunication.
That one is, it's not like Blitz, but the one they did, the strange one, I got it right here at some place. It's those were different. They were like Depeche Mode. They were like Depeche Mode.
Well, the fucking that album is fucking garbage as far as I'm concerned. They put out a single then afterwards called Solar, and it's basically it's got the same chord progression and everything. If you listen to it back to back with Dreaming of Me by Depeche Mode, it's the same fucking progression. Same exact fucking progression.
But Paul, it's worse than that though, Paul, because people are trying to claim that the third album's good, like the 1991.
Oh God! Well, what the guy from The Attack singing or whatever? People like to reinvent shit. You know what I mean? Like, oh no, that was no, it wasn't. It was crap then. You know, don't tell me it's good now. You know, it's like what these assholes they put together these bullshit like 80s metal bands. Like, oh, it's a joke, it's a tribute. Yeah, you know what? You play those songs pretty goddamn good for somebody who thinks it's a fucking joke. Bullshit. You like that garbage, all right? Fucking telling me you're doing it for fun. You know, people just ruin everything. You know what I
mean? Yeah. Jerry, anything you want to end on?
No, it's been fun. Let's do it again. I know Paul wants to see the playoffs, and I want to get some food in my yob.
Yeah, man. Yeah, Paul, any final thoughts?
It's getting hot out. Don't be and there's a lot of bullshit going on in this fucking world right now, and especially in this fucking country and whatnot. And I don't like to tell people what to do and what they should believe in or what they should think, but you know, sometimes you gotta fucking you gotta pick a side or whatever. And it's not even so much that I'm picking a side. I'm just gonna call bullshit out as it is, because there's a lot of fucking people that I'm seeing that I've known for years that all of a sudden are turning into these fucking Republican kind of supporters or some shit. And I don't know why, because Trump's this fucking sack of shit. He always fucking was. And we always hated that family in New York. So when I see fucking a working man fucking support this shit, it makes me fucking mad and it makes me sick. You support the GOP and the bullshit that's going on, you can suck my dick from here to eternity.
Hey you, don't you like a sawtooth? Don't you wish someone's here with you? Watch your two friends only when the party's done. Gotta bring your dying breath alone. Get out! Hear you knocking, but you can't come in. Keep on knocking, but you can't come in. Yo, hello, you can't come in. You're on the outside, we're on the inside. You're on the outside, you can't come in. Money, what's it put you in a world like this? Daddy, just face away, leave you like this. And your two friends only cause the party's done. You're gonna see your dying sight alone. Get out! Hear you knocking, but you can't come in. Keep on knocking, but you can't come in. You're alone, you're alone, you can't come in. You're on the outside, we're on the inside. You're on the inside, you can't come in. Money, watch me put you in a world like this. Daddy, fade away, leave you laugh. And you're keeping friends only cause the party's done. You're gonna see your dying sight alone.